day 7, and we are going into week 2, and our canopy is crushing right now. Sorry I haven't made you guys a video. Just been super swamped. Warehouse is bumping. I've been trying to post shorts there, but getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go work at the warehouse sometimes is just a little bit of a hassle. Multiple different things going on right now, so I'm trying to stay updated on pretty much everything as much as possible, but we are here and I'm trying to make you guys an update of the R&D room at least and let you know exactly what's going on. The plants are about to go to sleep right now in probably about 30 minutes, so they're starting to, they're still praying a little bit, but they're starting to kind of get their rest on. You guys know the plants like to sleep hard overnight, especially these OGs right here. These things just, the other day I walked in and looked like everything was wilted in here, but it was just, they were just sleeping super hard. So anyway, parameters in the room for this week, easy. We're going from 83 degrees and 75% humidity. We're dropping down that VPD just a little bit, couple percentage on the RH, and we're gonna drop a degree. So we're gonna go down to 82 degrees from 83 degrees, and drop our humidity to about 72%. Again, like it doesn't need to be perfect, guys. The VPD is very important to try and stay as much in that range as possible. With a 5 to 10% difference on your relative humidity should be fine. If you can keep your temperature maintained, 2 to 3 degrees, that'd be great. That's the most ideal thing that you're going to want to try to get done. So, other than that, irrigations are going from, I was watering about three times a day at 150 milliliters early in the day till about day 4 or so of flower, and I noticed that these girls were drinking, and especially on the candies table. I think it's the underlighting on the canopy table. On the candy table is really making an impact on how much these girls are drinking on this side. So I went ahead and bumped up our waterings from 3 a day at 150 milliliters to 3 a day at 250 milliliters. Now, we're still trying to aim for that big dryback and keep everything in generative. So we don't want to start adding waterings later on in the day too much unless it's absolutely necessary. And for some reason, these things are really taking off. But with 12 days of veg, our root zone is not super overdeveloped. So they're still growing a lot of roots in there. And roots don't like to grow in a soggy, wet conditions. The core of rock wool is being able to get those roots to explore that rock wool and find the moisture at the bottom of the rock wool and hit the air and grow and air prune themselves and grow back up. So if any of you guys have ever seen those air pots with all the little holes on the side of the pot that are letting in air, that's essentially the same concept, but instead you're in hydro and you don't really have any forgiveness like you do in soil. So you need to be on point with your waterings, and you need to be on point with your feeds. And if you let these cubes dry out too much, one, your roots are going to die faster than you could imagine, and it's not like soil. They're not going to come back. You might get lucky if you catch them just starting to wilt, but at a certain point they're just not going to come back. So what you want to make sure that you're doing is just keeping these cubes saturated and just keeping an eye on them crucial points of the day. So at the beginning of the day, you want to make sure that you're getting them up to filled capacity 2 hours after lights on, and then just monitor them. Like I said, you're really not going to need a shot in the middle of the day unless absolutely necessary. So the point of the generative steering and the point of these big drybacks is to get them just to the point before wilt, I know you guys don't all have moisture meters. I know you guys don't all have all these fancy tools at home. So I'm just trying to convey what 30% dryback is. So that's pretty much what we're aiming for right now, 30 to 35% dryback, and making sure that they are getting that little bit of stress to really let them know, like, hey, we got to put on flowers, we might die here. And then once they kick that hormone in, start showing us flowers, like, these are already getting some good sets here, you know. We're day 7, and these are already getting some good sets. So this is exactly what we want, is what's happening. So that's it as far as our waterings go. Our EC is coming out at about 5. So this run we're gonna try to run. I know last run we pushed the EC super high, guys, but like I didn't. The results that came out, like nice, pretty flowers. Our yield was down. We only hit about 10.5 out of here. Our average number out of here is about 12. So, you know, quality was there. Quality was up, but yield was down. And I really think that's just because we were running that super high EC inside the blocks. So they really got some nice expressions from all the high EC like stresses, but our yield was down significantly. And you know, the ripening on them, just, I don't know, I didn't get quite as much color as I wanted. But again, that's not necessarily because of the EC, that's more of an environmental thing. But it is what it is. We got some different things that we're going to be doing in here as far as our cooling goes, and I'm actually going to be filling I think my AC is low on refrigerant, so we're going to go out there and we're going to fill that AC up. I ordered some Freon, and I'm going to go ahead and do that because, you know, like I said, once you're a grower, you kind of have to become a plumber and an electrician and an HVAC guy too. So, you know, hopefully I don't destroy my AC unit, but I've watched my AC guy do Freon Phillips so many damn times. I think I kind of have the concept down, so we're gonna go ahead and get going with that. Besides that, we can talk about the underlighting. So usually I will wait till about day 5 to 7 to turn on this underlighting, and I don't know if you guys can see the canopy on this side, but it is, you can see there's like a slope, and it is really keeping these girls stretched down on this side of the table, you know. And I really put double under canopies on this side this time because I wanted to get a little bit better light penetration on the candy table to try to promote a little bit more color. Because you guys know, if you run color strains, all the buds that don't get light penetration are really not going to get any color. So, you know, it's I used to have these lights split between both of these tables, but I went ahead and just ran 2 rows on this side to make sure that we're gonna get the maximum effectiveness out of these. And I turned them on first day of flower. So far, these plants on this side are just a little bit shorter on this side of the table. So I don't know. I like it. I think we should. It should help with stretch, which is awesome. But you know, hopefully it helps with light penetration and gets our yield up a little bit on that side, and our color up a little bit on that side. So I guess we could talk about the Pheno hunts. So the Pheno hunts are back here, and you can see they're pretty dense. And I'm going to have to, again, we don't know what we're getting here, guys. These are the push cakes. So these are wedding cake, JBZ's wedding cake crossed with a Push OG, which is a strain from back in the early 2000s that I ran for over a decade. And she started showing me genetic drift, so I had to cull her from the garden. But before I did that, I went ahead and reversed her and just made a bunch of fem seeds after I crossed it with the JBZ's wedding cake. Both super heavy smokes, both super heavy yielders. They both have the lineage to put out color, so hopefully we could get something special. That's 16 and 17, and I'm gonna run, I think I'm running 2 right now at the big warehouse, and I'm gonna run the others probably within the next cycle I think I'm gonna run one more room, and then I'm gonna take clones off all of them. Probably just dedicate a whole table to the pheno hunt and just see what we can get going in there. So stay tuned. Once you start putting on some buds, then we'll get a little bit more idea of what's gonna happen with those girls. But I think that's it as far as our parameters go in this room. Anything that we're doing different. Also, I've been getting a lot of people talking about how high my lights are, and like, I don't know if your lights didn't come with instructions or what it might be, but you know, your light height only matters if you're not hitting your PPFDs for that time in the life cycle of your plants. You know, so we're in week 1 right now. Well, we just finished week 1, and our PPFDs, our par is sitting at about like 800, in between 800 and 1,000, depending on where you're measuring in the room, which is exactly what these plants want right now. And they're only at 80%. These lights are only at 80%. So now we're going into week 2. I'm turning these lights up to 100, and I'm not even going to turn all of them up. I'm going to turn the 2 edges and the 2 backs, because the crossover from the other lights is really going to just fill in whatever PPFD that we're missing in the middle of the tables. And I'll monitor that, see exactly how they're coming out, and what they're showing me and how they're reacting, and I'll go ahead and adjust that accordingly. And hopefully by week 3, right when we're going into bulk, I can get everything up to 100%. But as of right now, we're only at 80, and we're already hitting our number. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go ahead and bump these up, like I said, and we'll be at pretty much 1,000. You know, just give or take, up or down 1,000. And these plants are just going to continuously grow, which means their PPFD is just going to get more intense the higher that they grow. So that's it on the lights. I mean, again, I know the light manufacturers say 18 to 20 inches or whatever it is on your box, but that is for maximum PPFD off of that light. And if you just do the most minuscule amount of research, you will realize that you're not supposed to have maximum PPFD at all times on your plants. You know, they're only able to use up so much of that, especially if they don't even have the foliage in order to do it. But our canopy's banging in here, so we're gonna go ahead and start turning those lights up, start putting the pressure on these girls, and see the results. So for today, the next step as far as plant touches goes, we're going to come in and we're going to defoliate a bunch of these plants. Sorry about that. I don't know how long my finger was on that camera. We're going to defoliate. So I know you guys spent the last 7 days building up all these precious leaves and, you know, getting these things going. So it's going to be a little hard. You're going to be like, man, these plants look so pretty. I don't want to touch them. I just let them do their thing. But in order to get these plants the proper light penetration, in order to try to maximize the amount of tops that are going to be available to light in this trellis work, is by coming in and you're just going to do a simple defoliation. So let's see, I'll just do this one plant right here. Let me lift this trellis up a little bit. So we're going to come in and we're just going to pull off all of these inners here. Okay, we're going to come down just a little bit. We're not doing any lollipopping. We're not taking any branches off, nothing like that. We're just going to remove some of these top leaves here and just open these girls up, especially with these gorillas, because these gorillas, you can see, they just want to grow laterally. Like, they just want to make themselves a nice little bed and lay down. And I have, again, these are the only plants in here that are on-topped, and these are the shortest plants in here. So that's it. You know, what is that? 10 leaves? 10 leaves right there that I pulled off. If that, not even, it's 8 leaves. And you're just gonna let that light penetration come in and really just promote all of these inners here to grow up and let them know that they got enough light so to start producing flowers in there. And I'm just gonna come through and I'm gonna do that pretty much on all these plants. You know, 10 seconds, 10, 15 seconds of a touch per plant. Sorry, lower that. And at the end, what that's gonna do is, one, signify to them like, hey, we gotta stretch up all of our lowers to the bottom because something might be eating us up top. You know, they don't know, they're just plants. So that's the only, their evolution has told them that if their tops are getting eaten, we gotta start promoting a little bit of growth. But they're not gonna stretch everything that's already on top. They're going to want to bring everything on the bottom and make a nice even menorah. So that's kind of what we're doing. With those phenos back there, those things are crazy. So let me show you real quick. I know a lot of you guys aren't even watching, but for those of you guys that are still watching, look, we're gonna come in and we're gonna clear out all this nonsense in here for day 7. Because these are seeds, because they have been in this pot for almost a month before I brought them in here, they have some goofy growth going on, you know. So we are going to lollipop those just a little bit, just to clear out and really focus on our tops on those plants, because I want to see exactly what they're going to put out, the product that they're going to put out. I'm not necessarily concerned too much about the yield, because we could dial in the yield with our irrigations and all the other things that manipulation that we can do with those plants. So I'm really just trying to see what quality we're going to get out of those plants. But I think that's about it, guys. Our CO2 ppms are sitting at about 1,000. I know I didn't talk about that earlier. We're like 900, but you know, with the dead zone that we have on there, they're sitting at about 1,000. And yeah, so as always, thanks for watching. If I missed anything, if you guys have any comments, questions, I know there was a couple more things I wanted to talk about, but you know me, like my ADHD just gets me rambling on. You know, I just turn this camera on and I just go. So it's not, you know, I don't have a script, I don't have anything. I'm just trying to remember some of the things that got said in my comments, and some of the things that we're doing that I think will be useful to you guys at home in your gardens, you know, and trying to just convey what it is that I'm doing and make it accessible to you guys in the most simple way possible. And I know a lot of these things and concepts are a little bit more advanced, and I'm trying to just make them digestible for you guys as much as possible. I might be failing to do so, but I hope not. And if there is any clarifications, I'm pretty good about getting in the comments and trying to clarify what it is, for not just for the person asking, but for anybody else that's concerned that doesn't want to comment because they don't want to sound stupid or whatever the fact might be. And I'm just I'm really just trying to help everybody out, you know, and also while learning myself and teaching you guys right alongside with me. So again, this is the R&D room, so we're doing a couple different things. Like I said, I'm trying to stay on top of exactly what it is that I'm changing, so that way we can, you know, stay dialed in. You know, I make these videos mostly for you guys, but also for myself as a log to see what it is that I had going on at this time in the garden, what it was that I was trying, and where it was that I was at in my process. So anyway, I'm rambling once again, but happy farming. Love and appreciate you guys. We made it to 1,000 subs. For those of you guys that made it to the end of the video, let's fucking go. You know, I went from 100 subs to 1,000 subs in less than 3 months, and that's thanks to you guys. So I appreciate every single one of you. Happy farming, and I will talk to you guys later. Like, subscribe, peace.